Hello, Kenny Farquharson here, sitting in my study in Edinburgh, and I'm going to try something a little bit different today. Some of you may know my day job is as a columnist on the Times newspaper. I've been writing about Scottish politics weekly in the Times. I do a column weekly, and I have done since for the last 10 years, since 2015. So that's my day job, and I've tended to keep that separate from my work on the Jaggy Thistle. But I'm going to just try something a little bit different this week and see if you like it. Tell me if you do like it, if you find it valuable, if you think I should do it more often, and we'll see how it goes, okay? So in the newspaper, The Times today, I have a column which talks about hero voters. Now you'll recall that hero voters were at the heart of the campaign, the Labour Party campaign for the 2025 general election last year. The term is often associated with Morgan McSweeney, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, but it actually was coined by a woman called Deborah Mattinson, who has been a strategist with the Labour Party on and off since the 1980s, since the days of Mandelson and Philip Gould. So Mattinson was made head of strategy by Keir Starmer when he first came to be the leader of the Labour Party. And she had a very intense focus on one kind of voter. She actually wrote a book about these voters in the Red Wall, the former Labour heartlands in the north of England and in the Midlands of England, who had previously voted Labour but had since voted for Brexit and had moved towards the Tories. So to win these back, Mattinson had the view that Labour as a party and Labour people as human beings had to have far more personal respect for these people. So she called them hero voters. And she believed that, these people who were kind of upper working class, I think you might say, kind of skilled working class, junior administrative grades in maybe in public services or in corporations. These people felt looked down on by the Labour Party, primarily because they had socially conservative views on things like family, on community, nationhood. And they felt that those values were not really shared by the modern Labour Party, which they felt was very middle class, very caught up with other identity politics and things like that. So Mattinson urged the Labour Party to focus ruthlessly on these people. And that's exactly what the Labour did last year. It ruthlessly shaped Labour Party messaging, tone, optics and policy to this group of voters and their instincts and their values. That was almost the entire focus of the campaign, regardless of danger of losing votes elsewhere. This had to be the primary focus. And it worked. And so the question in my mind is, will Labour Party use the same tactic next year at the Holyrood elections? And I think they will, which then begs a couple of questions. Who are the hero voters in Scottish politics? Who will be the hero voters in the Holyrood election in 2026? And crucially, is Scottish Labour ruthless enough to mould the entirety of the Scottish Labour campaign, its policies, its visuals, its language, its tone, to attracting those hero voters to the Labour cause? And I think there are two potential groups of Labour, of hero voters in Scotland that might be tempting for Labour Party. It can only have one of them. It can't have both. The first group that may be tempted by is the kind of Labour voter who is moving towards reform, moving towards Nigel Farage's party on the hard right of politics. Now, there's no doubt that Labour is losing votes to Farage. All the big Scottish parties are losing votes to Farage. Perhaps Labour well, maybe not more than any, but a substantial number of Labour votes are being lost to Farage. So it's a legitimate concern for Labour strategists. But I think it would be a mistake to make these voters the hero voters, even though they're kind of comparable in many ways to the English hero voters from last year's election, the general election. I think it would be a mistake because I don't think Labour can convincingly portray itself as a populist, insurgent, nativist party in these elections, and indeed in any elections. I think that the hero voters for next year's Holyrood election are independent supporting, SNP voting Scots who have, for the last 20 years, rejected the Labour Party in almost every election. These are the people who have handed Labour devastating defeats ever since 2007. Now, these are people who are sincere in their belief in an independent Scotland. They voted yes in 2014. They voted Remain. They're kind of pro-European. They voted Remain in 2016. They believe in a kind of Scottish polity, in Scottish policies for Scottish problems. So their focus is on Scottish matters and the Scottish nation and the Scottish nation's future and their future within it. But at the same time, they do not regard Labour as their mortal enemy. These voters are unlike other nationalist voters in that they don't regard themselves as nationalists. Okay, they haven't turned their back on England and the English. They don't regard south of the border as foreign and alien and a different culture. They still care what happens in British politics. They still care what happens within these islands politically. So these are the voters that Labour has to reach out to. But to do it convincingly, Labour has to have a good, long conversation with itself and accept that it has to challenge its own prejudices against Scottish nationalists and against Scottish nationalism. Because you can't convincingly say to these voters, I respect you, come and help me, and forge a Labour victory and put Anas Sarwar in Butte House. To do that convincingly, Sarwar has to be able to look them in the eye and say, I respect you. I respect the fact that you want Scottish independence, and I accept that that's a legitimate way to see the future of Scotland. And more than that, I understand your hurt and pain that there is no legitimate legislative path to that goal. And I think there should be a legitimate legislative path to that goal. So walk with me a while. Walk with me a little bit down the road into Scotland's future. We might not agree on anything, but we can agree that Scotland is broken and needs fixed. And in the meantime, I'll see what I can do to help address your legitimate concerns about your belief in independence and how Scotland might legitimately one day walk down that path a mile further on. Sarwar, I'm not sure, is in the position to do that yet. He's not quite in the headspace to do it. I think McSweeney could do that. I think he's ruthless enough to do it. I think Mattinson is ruthless enough to do that. And they've shown that they can have that focus, that laser-like focus on these hero voters. My question is, can Anas Sarwar find the ruthlessness to identify those hero voters and to give those hero voters the reassurance they need to vote Labour next May? So that's what I've been writing about in the Times today. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about this exercise and me kind of just chatting about it off the top of my head. You can read the actual column in the Times. I'll put a link in the notes. We'll see how this goes. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention.